and welcome. And this is a very, very important topic, because it's one of those things that don't just think about ourselves but also posterity, so that, you know, in the next few years people would grow and come and meet certain laws which they think, our fathers before us made these laws to give us an even playing field, to secure our freedoms and our rights and help us grow and achieve civility, which we all want. Now, with me to find out why there should be a separate MDG for women, from my immediate left is Esther Teria, who's Executive Director, Gender Center for Empowerment Development, and also a member of WILDAF. Correct me, what is it?
It's Gender Center for Empowering Development, so I don't want you to suffer, just say GenSet.
GenSet, and a member of WILDAF.
And a member of WILDAF, yeah.
Very good. And our own brother, Frank Bonza, who is Programs Director for WILDAF. Gender activist just like myself. Only this time we are on different platforms. I think this time we have pushed it too far. So to set the premises, push that start, I just want to find out what the old MDGs were and how we're able to achieve or not achieve them, so that we understand why this demand is. Yeah, so Esther, let me start with you.
Okay, the other MDG, yes, they had issues, they had goals that was specifically for women. We had the goal 3, and then we had the goal 5. I mean, almost all the goals had a certain bit of women issues in it. Yes, we can say that government didn't do well from the previous government, that's the Kufu administration. That's when the MDG actually started. They've all done quite some good jobs. They've helped us to attain certain things. But we think that it's not enough, because this is a development framework that it ends in 2015. And the question we keep asking ourselves is, after 2015, what's next? Okay. And good enough, that's the same thing on the international mind. After 2015, what next? So yeah, international bodies are looking at a sustainable development framework. Okay, we've dealt with issues about malaria, issues about poverty, issues about this. And in Ghana, you can hear people talking about people living in slums and all that. So then it means that they need more developmental, more infrastructure development to actually deal with some of the issues. Because if you have good systems, good housing, good sanitation and all this, some of these issues would go down. So we are saying that in the consideration of issues that they are, I mean, at the moment they are considering issues to be put in, we want them to have, I mean, a focus.
Before we move on to the next one, on the old one, now you could say in school, you know, it's literally about 50, you know, 100 or 50-50 in terms of education, and even now the girls are beating us. You look at politics now, and you know, there are a bit more women than before. You know, we've done well more before. Maternal mortality is reduced a bit. We haven't done well in, you know, the children under 5 who are dying because of bad water, but we're working on it. So why don't we just carry on? Because we made some progress with the old system. So why don't we just carry on? Why do you want to? Okay,
you see, we don't want to carry on. We are not saying we are not carrying on. It's like we want to continue, but we want it to be in a better way. In the sense that, for instance, you are talking about 50-50 in schools and stuff like that. I tell you, I'm in a classroom with my boyfriend impregnates me, I'm the one who have to suffer at the end of the day. I have to go home, I have to be sent out of the class. So you can't tell me it's equal representation or equal opportunity given to the both of us. Who in the first place got the lady pregnant? The boy is busy writing his exams, you see. So we think that when certain issues become very, I mean, it's glaring that we have to deal with it, government then have to now look at some of its laws, because we are a law-abiding civil society organization. And as I said, WILDAF is Women in Law and Development in Africa. So to us, law is very important. You can't then just impose things. And as you said, we have to do things that when we are not there, those who come after us would actually follow on. So if government is saying, oh, we agree with these issues you guys are talking about, government is going to have some kind of laws in place that do not allow teachers to send the kids, the women out of the class and stuff like that. You see, funny enough, we are talking about ending poverty and stuff like that, women making sure that they are in certain key positions. You made mention of politics. You see, let me use Ekuadonko, for example. Ekuadonko, her illiteracy level as compared to some of the male, it's low. But look at the issues that Ekuadonko is raising. They are very critical issues. I mean, when she was in Senchi, I mean, she spoke about small, medium enterprise. You know, and this is something that, I mean, she's not as educated as we think, but she's adding on value. But at the end of the day, look at the way the presentation, look at the way people put it. Why is Ekuadonko there? They brought pictures of her sleeping. You ask yourself, were other men not sleeping? There were some men who never even contributed to the discussion, but she did. So why that kind of tag on women? I tell you this, when this Woyome issue started, Betty Modi Drisu was asked to proceed on leave. She was actually taken out of government. Okay, now we have this Brazil expose and stuff like that. And the government did what? He reappointed the minister to the ministry. So what is the difference between the woman and the man? So if a free Ankara, even at this stage, the government is not asking him to go home and is still keeping him in government, what?
That's what that is a mystery. I said they should write a book, How I Kept My Job. You know, some
exactly.
of them have to write
so
a book.
These are some of the issues we are looking at.
Let me bring Frank in here before we move on to. Is it because maybe we are picking every issue with the toothpick and therefore we find fault of it? Or maybe if we stand back a bit, it wouldn't have been, you know, like that. I mean, are we nitpicking? When it comes to gender, we just say, look, let's find the gender fault in this situation. Do you think we are doing that?
No, not as such. I think that the whole thing about the MDGs that we are talking about is based on the fact that we want to have a standalone goal in the post-MDG development framework, which is termed Sustainable Development Framework. The fact is very simple, and I will give you 4 principles or 4 reasons why we need the standalone goal.
I will take that, but you see, what I'm the argument I'm trying to build is that, is it because we become so gender sensitive, and that's why we are moving to that, or it's an actual fact? Because we seem to be, that's a situation. Was there a woman involved? Oh, that's an accident. Was there a woman involved? Are we becoming very gender sensitive, or truly that's how the world is?
Because of the marginalization, we have marginalized the woman for quite too long.
Exactly. And
it is time we bring them onto the mainstream developmental agenda. Everything that we do, we bring them there. So it is not accidental, but these are facts that are on the ground that we have to work to correct. I don't think any government will want to push women as such. Many of the parties' manifestos that have come out have seen provisions stating that they will do this and that for women. The National Constitution itself is clear that even Parliament should take the trouble to make special laws to get women into certain positions and all those things. 21 years and now 22 years after, those laws are not in existence. But it means that there is a need to push, because if I have been promised something and it is not done, I just need to go further to push for it, ask for it, and as our religious books say, knock and it shall be opened. So it is just like following on that principle that we need to push and push further. I don't think we are talking about gender mainstreaming or gender equality just 2 or 3 years. No, it has been quite a long time, but the response had been minimum. And we want to see at the next level a larger and bigger response to the issues that we are talking about. And in fact, if we have set 15 years for ourselves, from 2000 to 2015, to have certain things done. And we are really, if we take Go1, for instance, poverty being reduced by half, we can say in Ghana here we have achieved that. we can't say that there's no poverty. There is. But we can say that we have reduced poverty by half. You can talk about your village, my village, where there was no electricity, where there was no pipe-borne water, where there was no hospital effectively running, and medical care was a problem. All these things, we can see improvement. We can see improvement in go-to education, the school enrollment. We have seen improvement. And as we were saying, that now we can have as much as almost at parity, 100 of girls and boys in the classroom. So that is not a major issue now. But some time ago, it was. The girl child education, for instance, in the 90s, it was something that we were all running around, we were all running around, we were all talking about. Today, we don't talk too much about it because what we call affirmative action is when we have reached a level, we have to stop and see the next level. So nobody is making any fuss about the whole thing. What we are saying is that all the issues that have been provided in the MDGs, GO3, for instance, has not been achieved. Not in any one of the GO3, that is the gender equality. It has never been achieved. Not in any country. Yes, not in any country. Achieve means that 30% target is achieved. In this case, we are around 22, 23. You see, so we haven't reached there. And if you calculate seven,
can you ever reach 100% gender equality?
No. Not is that. They set the minimum standard to be 30.
So even if you are 25,
30% representation,
you would feel a little happy and feel close.
But you are not there. 7% gap between the 23 and the 30 is a huge gap. If you want to put it in numerical terms. So what we are saying is that we are not just pushing for just pushing sake, but we are looking at why we need to push more. Because I believe that if certain law, look at the oil that we find, we have passed all the necessary laws and regulation policies working on it. But something that came almost 10 years before, and we're supposed to even make a law, a policy on it, we have never touched it. So it becomes critical, okay? And so we need to push and push further to get it done.
So looking forward,
yes.
What do we want added? And then break it down.
I just wanted to say something small about what you said. You made mention of the fact that are we trying to pick every issue, and I'll say that no, that's not what we are trying to do. You see, now, as it stands, government, from international level, from continental level to regional level, government has signed so many treaties on women. I mean, the international, the CEDAW, he has said, elimination of all forms of convention on all forms of discrimination against women. Okay, so we look at it. Government has signed on to these things. When you go to the AU level, the Maputo and all that, government have signed these things. But in reality, is it working? Are we achieving what government said is going to do? So that's the questions that we are asking. Is government giving priority to these issues? Or government waits and then one issue comes up and then he tries to deal with it? That is not what we are looking at. So the standalone goal thing is that we want a priority given to these issues, this gender, women rights and gender equality. We want government to give a priority to it. Now government is giving a priority to the Ministry of Gender, Women, Children and Social Protection. So it tells you that then government, why are you not, looking at it in terms of development, in terms of every other thing? Because you cannot just have the ministry and that's enough. It has to trigger that. It has to really, the impact have to be felt. And so that is why we are, not necessarily because we want to pick issues and say government, no, that's not what we are trying to do. So you made mention of this women participation and all that. You and I would know that, let's take politics out of it. Right from our schools and all that, the men are able to give they are given the chance to participate in so many exactly, and so many roles and all that. So right from there, their interest and their, behavior and everything is carved for it. So they go up and then it's easy for them to participate in the mainstream things.
These new laws you're bringing is going to change our culture.
No.
Tradition.
No. It's not a new law.
It's
These
not a
things
law.
are already.
This encouragement or this persuasion that you want.
No, we are not. You see, demanding for your rights is not something that is against our culture. I think our culture encourages us to demand for our rights. And that is why even when you go to the traditional system, you have more or less the judiciary sort of system. If something happens, they want to go through the normal process. It shows that our system also encourages it, you see. And so we are not trying to sway anybody or try to change our culture. No. We just want to help to accomplish what the custom and the things we're talking about. Maybe we overlooked it some time ago, but this time around we are saying that let's take particular attention about it, because so many things are happening that are affecting the lives of women. And government has agreed to it. He has said it. He said, yes, I can see that when I look at the statistics in Ghana, these things are not right. He has gone to international organizations, meetings and stuff like that, signed on to treaties that is binding all of us. So we are all not only interested in government doing that thing for us. After signing, they rectify. After ratification, what next? We want them to now domesticate it, implement it here, and then you see the actual thing. Let me give you an example. You see, we are talking about poverty reduction and all that. The majority of the women, how many women can you say that owns this? Maybe, let's take a bank. How many women are in the banking sector who can say even this microfinance is owned by a woman? You see, so where the women find themselves, and even in the job field, when you're in most of the banks, if I'm not wrong, some of them, as the private ones, tell the women you can't be pregnant for 2 years. You have to be in. Who gets the women pregnant? It's the men. And government has signed on to the convention, the CEDAW convention, against all form of discrimination. And this is a serious discrimination.
But if you get pregnant and you leave the job, you're discriminating against me.
No. Yeah, you see, that's what the banks are doing. So you meet...
No, what I'm saying is if you get pregnant and you go, I mean, you are discriminating against me. Now, what do I do with my position and then the job?
No. It's not about you want to go. It's about the bank saying that 2 years of your employment, you can't get pregnant. So if you get pregnant, it means that, I'm sorry, somebody else will have to take your position.
And I'm temporarily agreeing with the bank.
I find it ridiculous.
Because if you had a bank, and I need to quickly sort of remove on, if you had a bank and then I just joined, I mean, you'd want me there, but if 3 months later I said, oh, well, that's it, can I have my maternity leave? You've only been here 3 months. But
does the law give that?
Well, so maybe there should be a law that says, look,
the law gives
stay in there a bit before you get pregnant.
No, I mean, the law says that you can go on maternity leave. And so every bank has to comply to it.
3 months after you've been hired?
You can't determine when to get pregnant. These things are, this is involuntary. I mean, it comes unexpectedly. You understand? So you can't fault the woman for it.
Lots of contraceptives.
Ideally, you made mention of traditions and stuff like that. I think in our traditional setting, no custom encourages women to do that.
No, traditionally, we don't have a banking setup.
Okay.
So we are a bit flexible.
No, you see, what is the traditional? Because in traditional way, we used to keep our monies with our friends. One person will be the susu. There's a system they call village savings and loan, where one person will keep the money, and then when this one needs some, you come and collect it. Okay, now we say, okay, we have come of age, globalization and other things. Things have come. There's a proper and a better system that your money is more safer. So instead of the women in the village trying to mind it yourself, let's get people who are qualified to trade with your money profitably, that you can get profit. So it's just the traditional thing that they have modified it. So everything happening, as I said, the judiciary is in the traditional system. And this women participation we are talking about, it started in the traditional system. The king cannot go without the queen mother. No. The almighty Asante kingdom, the queen mother has to finalize before you have Asante Hen. Yeah. So we are saying that this shows how important we are. But now, it seems people think that these women are asking for too much. No. We are saying that we want to complement development. No. We have been doing that for so long. So let it be visible. Give us more backing. You have said you have agreed to some of the things. Now give us all backing. As Frank said, the standard logo, we are just looking at certain issue, structural change. For instance, this petty things in the banks, these are some things that we need to change.
Let me stay with the bank and the structural change.
Okay.
But, Frank, now, we all start work. 3 months later, Esther gets pregnant, so she leaves. 3 months, for what? Gives birth and then stays home for, further 3 months before she comes back. I mean, if you were the bank owner, you don't have to go and hire somebody and still pay her while she's in maternity. I mean, you would want her to stay and at least earn her keep. It's not, you're not being mean. And I'm not saying that because you're pregnant is a good or bad thing. Well, lucky you even have a holiday, a paid holiday. The rest of us have to still work and not get a holiday. So,
I mean, before Frank answers this, let me clarify this. This thing happened mostly in the private banks. I know a friend of mine who went for an interview in the government bank. She was pregnant when she went for the interview, and she was taken. And she went through the training. They told her, we know you are pregnant, but try to finish the training so that we can post you, and then you take your maternity leave from your branch. It's working. It's the private sector. Some private banks are not doing it.
Maybe they can afford, Frank. Maybe they can afford to do it.
I think that procreation is faced by two people, and it is natural. It happens. It was deemed actually.
So the husband should come and fill the woman's...
I wish that we could also, the workplace can tell us, go and sit at home because you have impregnated your wife, and we will see how we feel.
I guess
Anyway.
I guess now the men are even fighting for paternity leave.
Yeah, actually.
You see, so now the men are beginning to realize that, no, at some point we have to be with our wives to raise their kids, to be around our kids. We are not getting that chemistry. We have to. So it tells you something, doesn't it?
But on a more serious note on this pregnancy and the leave issue, I think that we have reached a level that we should also be realistic that in life it is only a woman who can get pregnant.
Exactly.
And the reality is that it is something that oftentimes when you don't expect it, that it comes.
Exactly.
Sometimes when you even plan it, it doesn't come. And it is natural. So for policy makers, they need to rethink and be gender sensitive. That is all that I can say.
Moving forward, we want universality.
Yeah.
If we are talking about the standalone goal,
the standalone
it is very simple. There is already a process in place to get the new development framework. The process had been initiated by the UN itself. People are advocating. So WorldAF Ghana, FIDA Kenya, Liberia Women in Media Action Committee, and then Womankind Worldwide. We presented a petition, or it's not even a policy position, to the UN that there is a need for the standalone goal. And it is based on 4 principles. The principle is universality, which explains that we have also realized with this universality that none of the UN member states has been able to achieve the gender equality. So it means that it cuts across every continent, every country. We have not achieved that. Then the next is that there must be a structural change where we will have a transformative society, of transformative ideas, that in this case, there is a need for the new development framework to better my life as individual. Okay? So if the individual's life is better, yours is better, mine is better, hers is better, it means that almost all of us are developing. Then the other side is that the process must involve women. I believe that the MDGs was developed in a way that many people were not involved at that time. Or many societies, civil societies were not much involved. But in this situation, where we have reached, we say that involve women from the national level, the sub-regional level, the continental level, to even the global level. And there are so many international NGOs Whether, for instance, we don't operate in Ghana, we operate in the whole of Africa, 31 countries in Africa. Yeah. So we have moved from just our countries to the global level. There is a sister organization in the Southern American continent, CLADEM. The acronym is in Spanish, but it's almost the same like World Health. And there's another one even in Asia Pacific, which also we have the APWLD, Asia Pacific Women Lawyers and Women in Law and Development. So they are doing the same thing as we are doing. All these people are saying that we must be involved in the process. And I believe that internationally, there are so many organizations who work around the global level. Drafting issues that we are taking from our country to the UN. We should involve the women. Then the other side is that it must be coherent with the existing agreement.
Can I say something here? You see, on the structural thing. I mean,
no, before if we're going to move to structural, then let me take. I mean,
that's what he just said.
Okay, then hold on.
So I just wanted to add up a little bit before you go on.
Okay.
You know, on the structural issue he made mention, we are also looking at this age and era. I think that women has to be given the right to decide as to when to reproductive right. You get it? You women have to be given that chance to do that. And some of the structural issues that we have identified, because there is no legislation, there is nothing backing it, it's still becoming a problem. I mean, this goes back to what you asked. Are we just picking things? Because structurally, we have been dealing with the issue as and when it comes. But we haven't been able to say that, no, this is an issue. Okay, so we have signed out to all this international. Let's look at within. How do we then make it to fit the Ghanaian context? To make the Ghanaian woman feel that, yes, everything is backing me. Now, as she said, then I can now go to the private bank manager and say, MD, you are wrong for doing this to me. This is what the law says, and you have to implement it. And I mean, the law says that anybody who is operating in Ghana is backed by the laws of Ghana, even the president. Without the laws, you can't do anything. So this is why we are saying that the structure change should be something that a priority. They have to look at it critically. We don't want issues when it comes, then they deal with it. I mean, recently the JSS girl who got pregnant, I mean, it came and then they said, okay, we have made provision for her to go and write. But what if it happens again? What is the provision? That's
my question. When I come back, we'll find out. So are we going to go through all our scenarios and make little laws so that as soon as the girl goes, that's structure A, this is structure F, how are we going to go about it? Stay tuned. I don't think it's... Well, MDG for women, stand alone. You know, we need to make certain laws that, while the general MDG is running, there are laws in there to make sure that, so let's say, you know, the general law says, let every woman, you know, go into a workplace and apply for a job. However, the woman gets pregnant, therefore she has to leave. But then there isn't any law there saying that no, even though she's pregnant, she has to stay or you can't sack her. And there are so many other scenarios that happen which, you know, literally normally affect you. Even raising our kids. You know, normally you take the boys for, you know, boxing lessons and then you tell the girls, oh, let's go and play ampé. Should we all be going to boxing together and then we all go to ampé together? You know, how do we then socialize the children to grow up? And are we going to have little laws, you know, that's issue F, that's standalone 2, that's standalone X. So let's refer to it.
Actually, I think that we are just bedeviling the situation. What we need to do here, even if you are talking about raising children, is that if the girl has the potential and she's interested in boxing, allow her to do the boxing. Exactly. Not necessarily because the boy is going to the boxing gym, you should take the girl child there. No, but it is the interest and opportunities that are available. That is all that we are talking about when we are talking about gender equality. If there are any opportunities for both man and woman, girl and boy, just give it to them. But don't restrict the other. That's all. And it is just like even able people and disabled people. We do the same thing to them. So in this case, all that we are saying is that there must be equality, a standalone goal on gender equality and women's rights in the new development framework that will come. I just want to throw more light on the why we need a standalone goal, in the sense that even the MDGs itself had the standalone goal on gender equality. Yeah. So if we are withdrawing, then it means that we are just backtracking on what we even thought of in the past to do. And apart from that, we need also the standalone goal to be able to leverage the programs and then the funding and then the budgeting that we do. It is like we have not planned for something, how do we even budget for it? How do we have programs for it? So if you have the standalone goal, then the sustainable development that they are talking about, where we have reached with the goal 3, then we can sustain and even improve upon it. Yeah. That is all about the standalone goal. Okay. The other side is that we want to see that when we are talking about women's rights, it is mainstream in everything. So whether you are working at the public sector or the private sector, there is a right of a woman there. Whether you are working on the farm or whether you are working at the office of the president, there is that right accorded to that woman. That is all that we are talking about. And the transformative aspect is where we set the indicators and target to ensure that we have fixed a target and we have also fixed an indicator. That if you are achieving this target, it means this and that are being reflected in our lives, in our programs, in our activities. And then at the end of the day, then we have seen that really there is gender mainstreaming, there is gender equality, or we are even increasing and improving and achieving more than what we have even planned for. And I think it will be a better place for all of us. Development should not be based on theories as such, but the practicalities. So if we have seen our women probably in the Mokola market, KJTR market, the Kotokraba market, the market circles, the Salaga market, Techima market. These women, if you go to those markets, you see about 80% of them being women. And these people are paying taxes every day, contributing to the development, feeding us, selling their clothes to send the men to school. Now it comes to where we need to involve them to take decisions. We say, oh, they are women. They need not to be there. I don't think it will help our development. So we want to see a development that the process is participatory. The process is all involving, social inclusion. And then we move to the next level. And I believe that when we do all these things and we achieve the development that we, at the level and the target that we want to achieve, we realize that, oh, really, these women have a better place in our lives. And we will not even stand or sit here today and talk about gender equality. We'll rather be measuring the contributions that women have made, the contributions that they have made, whether to the private sector or to the public sector. And I believe that if really we want to go into research and study, we'll find out that women have done much to improve the lot of the Ghanaian economy. So if we have a development framework that is coming, and even the current one has one on gender equality, what prevents us from rather sustaining, since the whole new framework is also talking about sustainable development. So they want to see that they have sustained target or the achievement on education. They want to see that they have sustained the achievement on poverty reduction. They want to see that they have sustained improvement in health, whether maternal, whether child mortality, the improvement that have come, they want to sustain it. So why don't you sustain the gender equality aspect of the whole thing?
I was going to bring you back to the old order, if I may put it, had a provision for, gender equality. So what makes this extra gender equality better than the old one, or what will make this work more than the other one? Because it was already there.
Yeah, the other one, we have realized so many things. That some of the things that we're talking about, I mean, there's no law backing us.
Okay.
We are just advocating for it. We are just telling government this, government that, government will make a promise and say, oh, in my manifesto, I'll make sure I have 30% women or 40% women. The government comes to power and said, I'm not getting the women. And all those kind of things, you understand? But then let me see countries like Kenya. They've been able to have in their constitution, some number of women that they have to be in parliament. So every political party in Ghana needs to be guided by that law. So then it would now give the political parties the chance to reserve some of their seats for women to participate in them. And I say this, see, we are not only looking at parliament, we are also looking at the district level. I mean, ideally, we're supposed to have the district election this year, but due to one or two things I heard, it's going to be early next year. You see, that place, the decentralized system, is so non-partisan. What is preventing government to say that we want to see 40% of the elected members or 30% elected members being women, and it has to be there? And so then, the Electoral Commission, with the Ministry of Gender, with local government and all that, now sit and say, okay, let's earmark certain areas and say that this place, women are supposed to contest there and the men are not supposed to go there, so that we can attain those things. So that's the different thing that this one is going to do. Because as it stands, remember, I mean...
Won't it be bordering on discriminating against boys?
No. Because, you see, as it stands there, let me give you one example.
I mean, on the borderline.
It's not. We look at the population. I mean, women is over 50%. And then you go to assembly. I mean, if I go to East Akim Municipal Assembly right now, in the assembly, I'll find 10 women. And the 10 women, 2 were elected, and the rest probably is government appointees. And all of them, about 30 are men. So you see, we are not fighting for something that is not happening. We are saying that these things are happening. And the women, we have agreed that they have certain issues. The economic situations of women do not allow them to do certain things. But when the law is in favor of a woman, it doesn't matter the kind of money the woman has, it will still favor the woman. You see, and our law does not allow foreign organizations and stuff like that to support women to contest for elections. So if I, as a civil society activist, get money from DFED or the High Commission or USA, then I go. The best thing I can do is to just build the capacity of the woman, teach her something, but I can't even do posters for her. It's against the law.
Well, for obvious reasons.
Yes. So we are saying that these are the issues.
The men are not allowed to do that.
Yeah. I mean, no, I'm just using the women in this context. Okay. And then you have a woman contested for election, and you go through the whole district, and she has about 3 or 4 posters. The men have the posters all over because economically the men are empowered. The men have the resource. But then if there's the law that is backing that these areas are earmarked for women, in fact, whether it's K2 South, MPP or NDC, and is a woman, the bottom line is a woman who is going to be the MP at the end of the day. You get the point? So these are some of the things that we are looking for. We are looking for. And we are asking for this standalone goal because when we know that these are the issues, now government has also an indicator to return back to UN, to report back to UN. So you know what? There's going to be harmonization of work, coordination of work. WODAF is doing this. I'm a member of WODAF. I'm doing this. I report back to WODAF. The Ministry of Gender has a central data pool collection system that every information is in there. So at every point in time, government is looking at all these things. So, indicator-wise and target-wise, we know that we are hitting it. Right now, we have been talking about the affirmative action bill being passed and all that. We've been going back and forth about it. So if government is going to look at this tunnel logo and say, no, this is a priority. Government now will then come and say, Parliament, you have to do whatever you are doing fast for this thing to be passed into law. And I have to say this. I mean, the Minister for Women, why do I keep saying women? I think I have to start. Yeah, gender. You know, she so much agrees in this. In a recent conference she attended, the CS58, yeah. She so much agrees with it that yes, that is something that we have to look at, because in every part of the society, women issues cut across, and women are always there. You'll be surprised to find out even in Ghana now, in some communities, women cannot own land.
Well, I heard that. I debated that with Mercy the other time.
Exactly. And it's still happening. It's still happening because we, the advocates, let's talk about it, and government say, oh, we'll do something about it, and that is it. But government does not have anybody responding, who say, okay, I'm going to check whether government is doing this. But this time around, we say, if government sign on to this, the UN is checking government. Government will make sure that some of these issues are being dealt with. Is that not a minute? I mean, let's stay with the land issue. Is that not a minute part of the country who have that law? Because I'm sure all over, I mean, if you wanted to buy acres of land and you have the money,
equality for all.
Equality
so,
for all.
It is a minutest
exactly.
section of the country. We still need to correct that. For instance, we don't want to, with the MDGs, for instance, they don't want to see any woman die through childbirth. And one dies. It is an issue. Yeah. You see, remember the minister whose wife died when going to deliver and all this? Yeah. It became a national issue. You see,
so what's the difference?
When it hits those who matter.
Exactly. What's the difference between the woman in
Zwalugu, the Zabzugu, my village, Piki Apiviope, have you heard of it? Yes. Or if something of that sort, Piki Apiviope, when something of that sort happened, do we hear it?
No.
We don't. But the family suffer. So, in all, we are saying that if we are talking about equality, the Constitution did not make one law for those up there and one law for those down there. The law is equal. So we are saying that this is something that must be there for everybody, whoever is on this earth. So the gender equality, we are not even looking at only women, because gender equality, and there's even, when you move a bit, they say gender equality and women's right. You see that thing? So it means that...
We are talking about women's rights. I'm interested about women's rights. In these modern days, when you say right, who's right? And which jurisdiction, everybody has their own right, they allow and disallow. So if we do this thing universal, are the rights also going to be universal, or are they going to be country-based? Stay tuned. Well, I'm being taken to school by Frank and Esther here, and I'm sure you are, I was in a very defensive position when I started, but I seem to be getting the reason why that there's no need just saying, yeah, do this, do that, but there should be a law backing it so that if you don't do it, therefore, so far as there's if you don't do it comes in, then everybody does it, and then we achieve results. Otherwise, we just leave you on the shelf. But universality, structural change, participation of women, coherence with existing agreement, rights. Rights? Whose rights?
The women. Not only the women, and the men.
But the reason why, I guess, let me get a bit controversial here, is that, as soon as you say rights, it becomes different. Because you go in the Western world, and a woman can say, look, I'm a lesbian, I want to be with another woman, and that's my right. A man will say, look, I want to be with that man, and also that's my right. So if we say, yes, we're going to sign on to this agreement, and guarantee everybody's right. I mean, people like Yaya Jammeh will jump off the roof thinking, what are you talking about? What if? I'm not saying they are, but what if somebody comes and says, I'm demanding this right, then where do we go, Esther?
Yeah, I mean, you see, we kept saying that we are law-abiding citizens. We operate within the law. I mean, we are here because the laws of Ghana allows us to do this kind of job we are doing. And so let's look at it. In America, even where, they are more advanced in terms of human rights and stuff like that, there are certain states that the law does not allow women to participate in certain things. For instance, as you said, same-sex marriage and stuff like that.
Even men and women.
We are within the law. What is the law of Ghana saying concerning same-sex marriage?
But being that you are reporting to the UN, won't they hit it back at you to say, well, it's a UN convention and therefore they also have their rights?
Yeah, you see, they also have their rights. Okay. Ghana, we also have our own internal cultural issues.
So she conforms.
I mean, you see, there's this American writer who says that Francis Fukuyama, in one of his books, he was talking about the America at the crossroad when they went to Iraq. He's saying that you cannot take democracy from your country to another country and expect them to conform to your country issue. But what you have to look at is, what is the context of the people? How then do I bring the democracy to suit them? So in this case, what is the context of the Ghanaian people? You go to the traditional system from Ewe to Achim to Kwewu. What is this saying? Do they allow it? Is this something they do? Okay, if it's something they do, and if it's something that the Ghanaian electorate want to go ahead and do it, and the legislatures are saying that we want to pass it, so be it. We are not advocating for that. We are just saying that government have to do things give us the law backing some of the things we do. So if government think that, after consideration and on my own, I think I have to take this issue for Parliament to look at. Our advocacy does not reside over there. So we don't really want to see that as an issue. But for now, we are looking at the existing issues and existing laws. And the existing law spelled it out clearly. So I think we leave the law as it is. And then we ask government to improve upon some of the things that is there. For instance, we have the interstate succession law and all that. We have tried to do some changes and all that in Parliament is there. You see, we made mention of existing, all these things are there. But government has also gone to sign up to international stuff and that and has come back. What is it government doing? Is government really doing lip service? Or he comes home and now say, okay, now I have to make sure that Parliament have to pass all these bills immediately. These bills have been lying in Parliament for so long a time. So we are saying that if this stand logo is, and then they know that it's within it, and there's a time frame for it. As the MDG started, it's 2000 to 2015. So there was a time frame within it. And government was doing so many things, and you say, we are achieving this. We are achieving this. So we are also saying that let us set the target for ourselves in terms of gender mainstreaming, in terms of having more women in participation, not only politics. I always say that you can have women in politics participating, but representation in certain places become low.
Let me bring Frank in here. Coherence with the existing law, universality. So in that case, do we then say that, look, no, Liberia, you are war-torn, so next year reduce your number by 2. But Ghana, you have, gone ahead, so you have to reduce your number by 10. And looking at the circumstances, it would be a fair target to set for both countries. Or do we say, no, cross-board, everybody reduce maybe childbirth by 10? Whereas that one is being chased by Boko Haram and therefore hasn't got the peace of mind to reduce it. However, you on the other. So how do we set these goals moving forward?
As you said, there is the country context also. So where we have reached, actually, I would say that Ghana should not even be comparing itself to Liberia. Liberia is a member of the UN. So, and Ghana is also a member of the UN. They are not going to see Liberia as a small country, and they are not going to see Ghana as a big country. In fact, the ambassador of US, ambassador of Russia, Canada, India, China, one. Each has one representative as the ambassador. You can't say that US is, as we say in Ghana, Ogboro, the big daddy. So we bring 2 or 6. No, India because of their population.
Before you continue, if there was a job vacancy today, and they say, look, the applicant must speak Spanish, I'll probably look at it, well, Charlie, this is well out of my reach. I won't even bother. However, if they said the applicant should be able to speak Twi and English, I'll be in there because I know I can do it. If we set these targets too high for certain countries, and they're going to say, look, where we are, there's no way we're going to get here, so forget it.
No, you see, when we are talking of equality, we are not saying that some should be bigger or smaller than the other. It's very simple. The gender equality talks more about opportunities. So if the women and men in Liberia have the opportunities to move to participate in a certain government, allow both. If the men and women in Ghana have the opportunity, give it to both. So even the job employment, for instance, if you advertise a job and you are saying that you need someone who speaks Spanish, and a man comes, a woman comes, give them the opportunity to prove themselves that I, Mr. Man, I can do it. I, Miss Woman, I can do it. Give them the equal opportunity.
You hire according to your competence.
Yes, you hire according to your competence.
I mean, Frank, you'll be surprised to find out about this equality thing you're talking. The men also, at some point, he's saying opportunity. You know, even in the banks, there are certain positions that are presumably, oh, this one is for the women. They can do it better. But there's a guy who can do it even better than the woman.
Yes.
So sometimes it's in our favor.
Yes.
Exactly.
So sometimes.
Just 1 second. How feasible is it that we will buy into this standalone? How feasible? What should we do?
What we are saying is that we are asking government.
1 minute. 1 minute.
Okay.
That's your camera, actually. To ask government.
We are just
look into the
we're just pleading with government that, I mean, when government goes to these international organizations, conferences and stuff like that, and they are talking about this issue, we are presenting the issues happening here. We have been on the field for so long a time. We have the statistics, we have the data, but we want it to be backed for us. And the only way that it will be backed for us is when government himself comes to terms with the fact that these are critical issues that I have to look at it, and government sign out to it. Now, from the budgets and everything, in terms of planning and everything, it's in it. And government will make sure that it would enforce it. As government went to agree to the fact that we have to go for the MDG, and then government was seriously working towards it, trying to get the target and everything, we are saying the same thing to government.
Thank you very much.
And we want to also thank our gender minister once again, because she has bought into our ideas. So we hope that the foreign ministry and all other...
She's one of the few ministers who have my vote.
Okay, so we are just hoping that the foreign ministry would also buy into... And the good side of it is that we have a woman as the Minister for Foreign Affairs. So we want to see how best she really helps us to push this agenda.
Thank you very much, Frank. Thank you very much. As
Thank
you know,
for having us.
It's important. And guess what? If you empower women, you never have cholera. You know that. Trust me. If women are empowered in a country, there will never be cholera.
Exactly.
So let us all back it. Thank you very much for watching. And tomorrow we'll be back to do it all over again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.